Hey, welcome back to Let's Fix It. I wanted to go over some hammers today. This is going to be a short video. This is a rubber mallet, typically used for assembly and forming sheet metal. It's used when you don't want to leave marks in whatever your material is. This is a claw hammer. It's a carpentry hammer used for putting nails in. Also used for removing nails. This is a millwright's hammer. Great for moving metal objects that you don't care about denting. This is a ball peen hammer. It's a general all-around machinist hammer. You can use it for flattening out dents. You can use it for making dents. You can use it for moving metal around. Just general round all-purpose hammer. Specifically for metal, not for wood. This is a tack hammer right here. That's typically used for putting carpet tacks in. Tacks are very short, they're tough to hold with your fingers, so you stick a tack on that end of it, start it, flip it around, hammer it on with this end. This is a general all-around beat the crap out of everything hammer. I keep that in my truck. Man, no matter what you hit with it, it's guaranteed to move it and leave lots of marks. This hammer here is a slag hammer. It's used for removing the slag off of welds. This item here is not a hammer, and it should not be beat on with a hammer. This is a machined clutch plate with splines in it. These splines are machined, and you can see that somebody has used a hammer to beat this plate into position. And the irony of that is, the more you use a hammer to beat this into position, the less likely it is to fit, because you roll the edges of these splines over and then it won't fit. The best thing you can do is clean the mating surfaces so that it fits into position. The more it doesn't fit, the more they beat on it, and the more it doesn't fit. The two hammers you could use to put this into position is the rubber mallet or what's called a dead blow hammer. Neither one of those hammers will leave marks in this piece. We're going to put this on the lathe today and cut these splines back a little bit so that they'll fit. Try to round this back up. And I'm pretty sure the guys that put this together at work will beat on it again. That's the nature of the beast. Well, this is truly unfortunate. Downside to being a hobby machinist, my lathe chuck is not large enough to hold this workpiece, so we're going to have to come up with something more creative. All right, so at this point we're mounted, but we've got an issue. I've got an issue. The gap over here is wider than the gap over here. And part of this stems from the fact that this is a 6-bolt hole pattern over here, 8-bolt hole pattern over here, so I can only use 2 bolts. The other thing we need to do is center this up with a dial indicator to make sure we're running true. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start shimming this until I get an even gap all the way around. Then we're going to move to the dial indicator, try to true it up. All right, so we got this mounted on a plate. We've got 2 mounting bolts. We got 2 spacers here to keep her somewhat level. I've checked this with the dial indicator. She's not what you'd call machinist perfect, but she's within about 10 thousandths of being true. I've also geared the lathe down to the lowest speed in the event that these spacers come out. I don't want them flying across the garage or hitting me in the head. And I think we're ready to start taking some cuts and seeing how this works out. All right, now I've got these splines rounded off where the lip is gone. I still want to clean them up just a little bit. I don't know if we can see that. Just a little bit between the teeth, all right, between the splines. I think that'll make her nicer. I'm sure I've mentioned several times before that I am a hobby machinist, and you probably would not see a professionally trained machinist do that with a grinder. All right, I think we're done with this. I'm gonna see if I can turn this around and get it true enough to clean up the face of the other side where the clutch is set. It's pretty ugly on the back side. Well, that's pretty ugly. It's not running true either. I'm gonna clean it up and try to get a dial indicator on it. I know this just looks like a lot of hammering, but I'm adding shims behind the plate to true this up. All right, I'm done with this, and I'll tell you why. The clutch plates do not ride on the outer ring of this surface. It also doesn't ride on the inner ring. I don't want to take a lot off the inside here because there's no reason to. I've taken this cut here, but you can see a lot of pitting down in here. That's pretty deep pitting. I'm not going to take that out of it because I don't want to skinny the plate up too much. Technically, I don't want to make the plate too thin. There's bolts put through here with springs. It's compressed. They stay compressed all the time. The purpose of the plates are to break free if the motor gearbox gets into a bind to prevent damaging the gearbox or twisting the shafts off. So this clutch does not work in and out like a car clutch does. Once it's compressed, it stays compressed throughout its life cycle until something happens which causes the clutch plates to slip, in which case the clutch plates always burn up. You throw them out, put new clutch plates in. Now we typically don't resurface this, but this plate here was damaged. I showed you the front damage. It was pitted pretty bad on the back. This was a scrap plate, all right? By straightening up the front and resurfacing this plate, we'll put it back together. If it works, we saved a little bit of money. Hey, thanks for watching Let's Fix It. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave me any comments in the bottom about what you think of this.